Hey there, hope you've been doing well, and today we're going to do a little of a bit of a recap on Clark's Hill, and I'm going to go into some details, kind of how practice went, the tournament, day one, day two, what happened, and baits, rods, everything else I was using. And if you want the juice of the juice, head over to my channel there on FishTips.com. They have a paid program pretty much where I put like all the details in, parts of the lake I was fishing, exact waypoints and everything like that. So that's something else you can check out if it's something that interests you. If you fish Clark's Hill a lot, it definitely would be helpful and get you going when you're fishing the wintertime ditch patterns. But let's get started. So practice, day one, it was 56 degrees, I think it went up to that day, 51 in the morning, it was beautiful. Started in one of the deep wintertime ditches I was fishing in and idled it, saw some fish right away, caught them, about 1.5 pound spots, maybe almost 2 pounders. So it was like, all right, this is not a bad start. I was happy with that. Kind of ran around a little bit. It was supposed to blow really hard, or did blow really hard in the afternoon. So I kind of kept working my way around in the clear water section of the lake. Found a couple other areas that had some fish, caught them as well. And then at that point, I went into like idling mode and I just started looking in all these ditches, trying to figure out exactly which ones had them, where the bait was, kind of bouncing around. And I did that till probably about 2 o'clock. Maybe it was 1 o'clock. And then I put it on the trailer and I drove up to this one dirty river. I wanted to go check it out while we were there. I knew it was gonna be protected from the wind. I went to this one channel swing on it and I was rolling a spinnerbait down it, caught 2 and I missed another one on just laydowns. They were just a little channel swing laydowns. And I was like, all right, something to this. I bounced around for a while, never got another bite. And it was only that one stretch there that had them. So I was like, all right, this isn't really kind of the deal, I don't think. So I went and decided to go and put it on the trailer, called it a night, maybe a tiny bit early. The Eagles were playing, so I had to go watch the Birds play. So that was kind of, maybe get a little bit of an influence. But day 2 was when it got cold. That day it was cold. I only got like 4 bites that day in practice. It was tough. I don't know what exactly happened, but we're gonna kind of skip over that because it really wasn't worthwhile. I stayed pretty close to the ramp, looking around, did some scoping, did some idling. Day 3, I started to figure out what I thought was going on, but again, it was really cold. It was snowing at one point. It was just miserable conditions, and those fish chewed like that. It must have been with the low pressure system coming through, but they absolutely chewed. It was a lot of fun. Not often I get to go down south and fish in the snow, so that was interesting. And what I found was there's a couple of brush piles that I got them out of, catch them on a jerk bait, and I was using, this was one of them. This is the Bill Lewis scope stick right here. That was kind of what I was using, the Dobbins. It's a 704 Champion CB. Great for throwing your treble hook baits on. That's what I was like doing. So I was catching them that way, and then caught a couple off laydowns. But the 2 biggest that day were like, whatever, probably 3.5, 3 3/4, somewhere in there. I don't think it was quite a 4 pounder, but it came on that guy. And then not that one, not that one. Here it is. It's been cut off since then, but Z-Man Center Jerk Shad. This is a 4-inch 1-inch smelt. That was the color I really like using. Angler tungsten jig head. That was kind of the deal down there most of the week until the tournament started, which we'll go over to then. But it kind of just gave me enough to get dialed in, maybe a little too much into that wood thing. Because day 1 of the tournament came and I had 3 brush piles that had a lot of fish in them in practice. Like I could say 5 to 8 of them in each of them. And that's what I was going to go start on. I started one near the ramp, nothing was in it. Went and fished the second one, nothing there. And the third one I went to and it wasn't there. And I'm looking at my Lowrance active target. I twitch my jerk bait down, get in front of them, and I see them all come out. And I twitch it down 2 more times. And this one was this, you could see it. It would come up to it, look at it, come up, look at it. And I just let it sit there for 20, 30 seconds. It just kept doing this, probably say 5 times. On that 5th time, it came around and it crushed it. And I went to set the hook on it, and somehow I came back with air. My only thought is with it sitting for so long, maybe my line got hooked over or wrapped around one of the hooks or through a split ring, or he ate it and it caught his gill plate, because I set the hook on 10-pound line and it just cut it clean. And that was the first cast I made with that bait that day. So it was just bizarre. But from there, it kind of got in my head a little bit. Backtracking in one of the ditches I was telling you about, where that first day of practice, I was up in the shallower part of it, 20 foot. And that was where I caught my one and only fish that day. It was a 2.25, I think, 2.4, 2.1, whatever it was. I caught that scoping on it with that Zen jerk shad, and that guy came up 100 miles an hour and ate it. But after I lost that one, I went running around. I ran up the lake, went to those spinnerbait spot that I was telling you about in practice, fished that stretch of laydowns on the channel swing, never had a bite. There was actually ice up there in that bay. The shallow part of it had about, I would say probably, it wasn't even quite, probably an 1/8 inch of ice. But it was enough that it wasn't broken when I ran in there and stuff. Like, it was on the surface. So that was probably not a good sign. And then I just ran around, bouncing around. I had a couple of those deeper spots that I thought were going to produce. There were fish there, and they would follow your bait. But what I'd kind of determined was those fish bit better in the morning than they did at night, or afternoon, whatever you want to call it. So I had a lot of follows and didn't make enough adjustments, I guess, to really kind of tweak it into what I needed to be. So then what would that have been, the final day, or my final day, the second day, and I got ahead of myself because that day it snowed in practice on Tuesday. Wednesday we were supposed to have off day for the meeting, had that. Then Thursday we were supposed to start, canceled because of snow. They were still on the road, I guess, a little bit. They were icy and they didn't want to risk anybody getting hurt. So we actually fished Friday, Saturday. Saturday I went and started on my deep spot that I was telling you about in practice. And I pulled in there, and there's one guy just getting up, getting ready to start fishing, and another guy stands up in the boat. Like, that's weird. We don't have co-anglers. It was a camera boat, so a camera guy. So that was he was in the top 10 after day one. I pull up. Gave him plenty of room. There was one little sweet spot I wanted to fish that he was on, but there was another spot before it. Then another boat pulls in. He stands up. Another camera guy stands up. So there was 2 guys in the top 10. And looking back at this, I didn't know it was that quality of a spot. I knew it had a lot of fish there, but in practice, this is where I was catching those 1.5 pound, 2 pound spots. Hindsight being 2020, I should have started there day one, and it was really, I was close to doing it, but I thought that brush stuff was really going to play out, give me a shot at catching some of those like 3.5 to like 5 pounders, like where it was going to be the fish that gave you a shot to top 10 it, win it, whatever it was going to be. So mistake on my part. I learned from it. But day 2, once I got into that spot, I kind of worked around them. I was trying to stay, like I said, out of their way. They didn't stay probably an hour and a half, I bet. The one guy stayed. The other guy stayed probably maybe a hair longer. I caught one fish on a Nico rig, and then I fished around more, and I caught another one on a... Oh, no, then this was an adjustment made. So I said I was throwing that Zen jerk shad. I made that adjustment and moved over to the Z-Man Graph Shad, which is still on there. And there's something about this bait that they really like to eat. It worked really well. And I caught 4 fish on it. I had 2 that were 3 3/4. And then a 2.5, or maybe a 2 1/4 and a 2 pounder. I caught 3 of them out of that one area. Then I went to another spot and I caught 2 more. And then it kind of shut off. I only caught 5 fish that day. But that's pretty much like the recap of what I got for Clark's Hill. It's wintertime fishing, ditch fishing, and if you want to learn more about it, head over to FishTips or comment I'll put it in the comments below, the link to it, and or description. That'll take you there if you want to purchase that and get all the inside deets. But appreciate you listening. If you have any questions, put them in the comments below, and I will talk to you again soon. See you later.